Hey mamas, welcome back to the Tuckered Mama Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Collins, and this is a space for real, honest, unfiltered motherhood, the messy, the beautiful, and everything in between. Today's episode is a special one because we're diving into a version of mom life that looks a little different than you would normally think of mom life for most of us. We're talking about motherhood on the road. I have my sister joining us today, and we're going to talk about her life and how it's anything but traditional. She and her husband have been traveling on the road because his job includes traveling, which means that they have all of a sudden gone into an RV, a camper, and left their home back in Oklahoma, sold their house, sold everything, and packed everything they could into this tiny little camper, which is not actually that tiny. We'll go into that. But they move from place to place. They're currently in Louisiana. They originally came from Oklahoma. And they're doing all of this while raising a 1-year-old. Can you just imagine that for a second? They just packed everything up and fit what they could into an RV. And they're trying to figure it out as they go. We're getting into what this lifestyle really looks like today, the reality versus the expectations, and how becoming a mom has shifted her perspective, the challenges, the sweet moments, and of course, some of the chaos and some funny stories along the way. So grab your coffee, start folding the laundry, or go ignore it. Who cares? We don't judge here. Let's get right into this. Today's episode is 20 questions with a Tuckered Mama, life on the road. So let me introduce her real quick. Her name is Lili. Hey, Lili, welcome to a podcast. Everyone knows, or now they know, that you are my younger sister, and we're actually pregnant at the same time. Story for another day when she comes back on the podcast, but she actually did not know for how long did you not know that you were pregnant?
Months.
Yeah, 5.5, 6 months. She did not know, y'all, that she was pregnant. That's a whole nother story, and we will dive into that another day with her because I honestly my mouth is still dropped all the time. Like, wait, what? You didn't know you were pregnant? So she's also, tell everyone how old you are.
I am 22 going on 23.
Yes, she will be 23 in just a couple of weeks. But she has the sweetest, cutest little 1-year-old. He's almost 15, 16 months almost coming up. And his name is Cedar. Oh, all right. Let's start with question number 1. Let me pull up my questions. What does home feel like when you're constantly on the move?
So we don't really actually have a home, I guess you could say. Our home is pretty much wherever our camper is. Well, my home, I would say, is wherever my husband and my child are, just because those are my comfort people. And then wherever my camper is, I would say.
Okay. So how often are y'all picking up and heading somewhere new?
It really depends on the job. So we don't ever really know when the job's going to be over or when the new job's going to begin or what they're going to want you to do. So actually, this job is almost over. So we do know that it's almost over. It's coming to an end. We don't know when. We were told May, we were told April, and now we're being told June. So it really just depends on the job, and we move with the job.
Okay, so all I have to do is cross my fingers really hard and pray that a job opens up in Georgia for y'all?
Yes.
So you can move closer to me? So what's one thing that you thought RV would be like, but what it's actually like? Like, let's compare the two. What did you first imagine living in an RV would be like?
So I feel like I didn't really have time to imagine what it would be like. We kind of just jumped into it. If I had to imagine, it wouldn't be like this. I feel like I would have a little more room, I guess. We ended up buying a smaller camper, and it gets crowded really fast and it gets a little overwhelming. But I would just say I never really had to think about it, so I couldn't give you what I expected it to be.
Okay. Do you feel like you have more freedom because you only have so many belongings, you can kind of pick up and go as you want, or is life more chaotic and stressful because everything is like right on top of each other?
No, I would say a little bit of both. We can really do anything we want to do. Like, I mean, we have our home on wheels. We could pack everything up and go anywhere we wanted to go. But it gets chaotic in the sense of packing everything up because you got to put things where it won't break. You got to do like a lot of preparation.
When you say like you had to prep, as in like getting stuff shifted around to where it doesn't move, it doesn't fall and break, like when you are traveling, are you actually in the camper, or are you riding? Like, tell me all about, like, how do you pack up and travel? I don't know anything about camper life.
So we actually cannot ride in the camper. I'm pretty sure you can for that. But we kind of just put like all the breakable stuff like in a place where it won't get broke, and then we have we replaced our couch because it got pretty torn up, was used a lot, and so we have to like pick up our couch and stuff. We pull the slide ins out, hook up the trailer to the truck, and pretty much just roll out. We got to roll in all of our cords and stuff. It's actually pretty more easier than it sounds. um I don't have to do most of it because my husband does most of it, like all the dirty work anyway.
Okay. So, like, dirty work, like, so, like, tell me about the bathroom situation. I'm so curious. Like, do you guys have somewhere you dump it? Like, is it like that old movie, the RV movie, where they like literally are trying to find a hose or a disposal somewhere to put all of their
I
bowel
guess
movements?
I can be. So where we are, normally they'll have like in a spot, they'll have like where it's called a sewer connection, and you just pop on your sewer hose and it connects to your black tank, and that's where all your bathroom stuff goes. And then you have a gray tank, and that's where your shower runs through. So our black tank holds it all. We have to keep it closed, otherwise things will just hit the bottom and it'll sit, and that's never good. So we have to keep it closed, and then I think we have to like dump it at least once a week. Kind of just depends on how you want to dump it, I guess. You just pull a little lever and then wash it all drain out, and push the lever back in, and you're good to go. And then your gray tank, it stays open. That way the shower doesn't fill up, and then it don't fill up the camper. And it's easier said. It's pretty much easy said done.
So, how did you learn about doing all of that? Like on the road, like asking other camper people, like, hey, how do we do this? Or did you research it? Did they tell you when you bought the camper? Like,
So, funny story. When we first moved into our camper, we had no idea you were supposed to keep the black tank closed. And so it was just open. And we had called my brother-in-law, and he was like, "Yep, you're supposed to keep that closed because everything's just going to sit in the bottom there, and you're going to have to clean it out, and that's a really dirty job." And so we did a little bit of research on how to dump it and what to do other than asking our brother-in-law, but like I said, it's actually pretty easy.
so what do you mean? Like, where is it sitting? Like, what does that mean? I don't understand.
So your black tank is where it sits. It just kind of just drops in there. If this is going to sound really gross, if it's not runny, I guess it's just going to kind of just sit there, and it creates a big mess, and it can create some issues down the line. We have a deal in our camper. It hangs by our door, and it kind of will tell you if our black tank's full. This is an example. We actually have something on that sensor. I have no idea what it is. And it tells us our black tank is full constantly. So we kind of just dump it when you smell it, if that makes sense. That's the dirt.
Okay. So when it's closed, I'm sorry, we're like diving into this pooping in an RV topic. But when it's closed, like the lid is closed, like the tank is closed, so then you wait for it to fill up and then you dump it.
Yeah. So there's just a little lever you push and it'll open the black tank and it'll run through the sewer hose. And they have a sewer tank underground and it all runs to a septic system. And then they have to get the septic system dumped out majority of the time. And then we just, when it's done rinsing out, you close it. Most campers, not ours in particular, I have a friend that has a camper that does this, have a water hose connected to their like whole black tank system, and they can run water through it, and that way it'll clean out the hose as well. Like I said, ours doesn't do that. Ours isn't that fancy.
Oh, okay. There's different levels of RVs you can get.
Yeah. So we're in bumper pool, and that was a fifth.
Okay. Did you guys pick out your RV based on like price and budget, or did you just kind of what was available because you had to move quickly? Like, how did you decide on what kind of RV to get?
It was kind of a quick situation. It was like, hey, we're doing this. Let's go look at RVs. And we went to one spot and ended up finding what we liked. So we just kind of went with that. It wasn't really about budget in a sense of what we could get, I guess. But I would say we did look at a fifth wheel and we did look at a bumper pool that were significantly different in price and still went with the bumper pool just because we felt more comfortable in it.
What's been what's been your favorite place that you guys have stayed so far? Like, where have you been so far on this journey? 'Cause it's been maybe a year you've been doing this, or?
It's been a little over a year. We've been at 3 different RV parks, actually 4 different RV parks. Our first RV park was at a lake and it was extremely nice and super peaceful. Other than the fact that we got flooded twice. So the lake doesn't have a dam, and so they couldn't like run the water out. And so every time it would rain, it would just fill up the park. And we had water up to our doorstep one time. It was extremely scary. So we ended up leaving that one and went to a different one in the same job range. And then the job changed, and we've been at 2 different ones. But I would say out of all 4, this one that we are at now is my favorite. It's called Niblett's Bluff, and it's in Benton, Louisiana, and it's extremely nice. We have 2 parks, we have a community building, we have 4 different playgrounds, and I actually live like right next to one of them. So it's extremely nice.
Okay, so like when it flooded, like do you have to sign like waivers for that when you sign up for these RV camps? Like what happens if your property got damaged because of the living situation? Like what happens there?
So I really don't know. We got flooded out once and it wasn't to the point where we had to move. It was just kind of like it was just rose. Like it wasn't too bad. And then the second time when it got up to our doorstep, that's when we were like, okay, we're done. We didn't want it to get ruined, and I don't really know what would have happened had something gone wrong. I guess we would have took that up with the park, which I did talk to the park manager after all of that, and she's super nice, and I'm sure she would have worked with us on whatever. But we didn't have to do any of that, so I'm really not sure.
So going forward, do you look for that in an RV camp, like the flood zones and like check your list of like all the things you want, to make sure do not have this at this RV
Oh, yeah.
park?
100%. So one of our main deals, and I know this sounds silly, but I mean, it really adds up, is laundry. So most of the time, you either have to go to a laundromat or you have to pay for your laundry. At that RV park with the lake, it did have free laundry, so we kind of got spoilt to it. And I would say having to pay for our laundry kind of sucks in a way. That was kind of my like one deal breaker that I didn't want, was I didn't want to have to pay for our laundry. Like I wanted to find a spot that it was included. However, we didn't. It's not very common to come by. Most people want all the money they can get, which is understandable. But I feel like if you're a monthly payer, you should have free laundry. That's my
Yeah. Yeah, I agree too. That's crazy. That's one of my other questions I have coming up for you about the laundry situation. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about motherhood. Like, how has becoming a mom changed your view on your perspective on life now?
So, okay, I can't really say that I have a different perspective, only because my son was 2 months old when we moved in this RV. Like, we didn't really get to experience motherhood anywhere, like in a different lifestyle, if that makes sense. Like, this has been the lifestyle he's known. It's pretty much been the lifestyle that I've known being his mom. It definitely, I mean, it seems different, but I feel like it kind of all just depends on your perspective. Like, your, I, you have a big house compared to your house and to my house. I feel like it's kind of the same, other than you have more bedrooms than I do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you're more cautious in the world right now that you have this other person you have to, be responsible for, and always looking over your shoulder, unfortunately, and, checking out what's safe to go to, and, you know, how can I get him to have play dates? How can I meet other moms? Like, how can I make friends, especially being on the road? Like, has that been a struggle for you to find people to like meet and like places to go, or are you kind of like out and about?
So, I mean, I've kind of learned to do my own thing. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do, and he's going to come along with me. And I mean, like, pretty much anywhere we go is family friendly. Um, it's extremely hard to meet new people just because you're not here for very long, or you're not staying here. So it's kind of hard to make that connection knowing, hey, I'm leaving soon, or this job's going to come to an end. And long distance friendships, people drift apart and they don't talk to each other all the time. It's kind of just part of it. However, I've been fortunate enough to meet another mom on the same job, working for the same company. It's a different position, but she has two kids, and me and her have really connected really well. So I know that going forward, I will always have that friendship, and I won't necessarily have to look for others, but it won't be as hard in feeling alone.
Yeah, that's really great that you found a friend through all of this, and someone that is like traveling with you guys. Like, that is seems really hard to find, and that's just so fortunate. And her kids, are they the same age as your son, Cedar?
They're not. She has Payson and Graceland. Payson is about to turn 3 in August, and Graceland is 11 weeks. Nope, she's 10 weeks.
Okay, so a newborn. Oh,
Yes.
oh my goodness. So she probably was on the road pregnant and getting ready to have her baby. Probably didn't even know where she was going to have her baby.
Well, they're actually, fun fact, from Oklahoma. And so she has Indian Nation like insurance, so she can only go and see their insurance there. So she had to drive back and forth to Ada, Oklahoma every time she had an appointment.
Oh gosh. What about like when she had the baby? What happened? Like, did she just go
She ended
obviously to
up
the nearest hospital?
Yeah, she ended up leaving 2 weeks before she was induced, and having her baby, and then she waited a week and came back.
Okay, so did the husband get to go and like be there for the moment, or did he miss it?
No, he did. He ended up leaving, I believe, a day early because he knew that she was going to get induced. She was like, "Hey, this is what's going on," and our company is very extremely lenient on stuff like that, and so they're like, "Go ahead, you're good to go." So he drove back and ended up making it. Stayed for I think a couple of days, and then he came back to go back to work, and then she came back a week.
Okay, well, that's like nice to know that there's still good companies out there that give you the parental time to go do what you need to do, and that
Absolutely.
makes you want to stay working with that company too.
Yes.
So what's the hardest part about raising a 1-year-old like on the road, would you say?
I would say, I mean, really just meeting other kids. It's kind of hard when not, I would say, it's really hard, like knowing other kids and like how they're going to react to your child, I guess, because you don't know how they're raised or you don't know like what they're going to do or say. Not that, I mean, we've had any issues, but it's really hard meeting other people just because some people they clash and it doesn't always end up working out.
Yeah. I think that's a difference between you and I, because you're so much younger than me, that like, well, one, I live in a big city, so there's stuff to do all the time. And for you, like being on the road in these rural areas, it's harder for you to find those indoor playgrounds and the parks and, have mom meetups or like go to a nature class with the babies or something like that. And I think like and then I think your lifestyle has made you a little cautious, like, oh, what are people going to think if I'm living in an RV? Like, and we're traveling, we're just here for a couple of weeks. So why even bother introducing myself? But I don't want you to think like that. I want you to like go out and still try to make relationships, even though they might not last long. I mean, I still meet people at the park randomly that I'm like, hey, we should change numbers and meet up again sometime. And I have a couple friends like that we text, but I actually haven't met up again with them yet. Hopefully one day we will. So I don't want you to get discouraged by you know, being on the road all the time. I could see how that could be really hard, like just trying to make friends, even yourself, introducing yourself or making friends that don't have kids. It's a whole different ball game, like they don't understand, hey, we got to be home by nap time. If he doesn't eat, he's probably going to start hitting something or somebody. And we got to be home by bedtime, or I'm not going to get my, downtime that I need to reset for tomorrow. So, yeah. What's something that you think has actually been easier about raising a baby in an RV?
Well, like I mean, I said earlier, I didn't really have any expectations. I guess my thing is I was meeting new people. It actually is easier than it seems. However, once they're like, oh, well, you're gonna leave in a couple weeks, it's more other people, that are kind of like, oh, well, I don't really want to take the time to get to know you, but I don't know. I don't have an answer for this one.
That seems kind of like unfair. I mean, you shouldn't start your conversation like, hey, I'm Lily, I'm leaving in 3 weeks, but you want to be friends? Like, you should
No.
just go up to them and just say, hey, I've got a 1-year-old, or, I always use my kids as like my in to talk to parents, or I start talking to their kids first, like if Cedar were to meet us at the park, I'd be like, oh, wow, I love your shirt. Like that dinosaur is so cool. And then usually the parents are like looking at you crazy, like, why are you talking to my kid? And then it's like, oh, I just love his shirt, like, and then that's kind of my in to start talking to them. But we've only had one bad like playground moment with Lacey, my daughter who's 3, and it was like just some kid who was not being watched and monitored at the playground. And I was talking to a good friend of mine like a little bit across from the playground, and all of a sudden he starts kicking her in the chest, and I was like yelling from across the playground. I was like, hey, what do you think you're doing? Stop. And then Lacey's just like actually using her words for once, which she's normally the one that could be throwing some hands, but that's our only like playground beef we've ever had, and it turned out to be like, I don't even know if it was a mom or like a sitter, but she was just on her phone looking down, not even paying attention. And I mean, I was talking to my friend, but I'm still like, we're talking and I've got my eyes locked on my kids. Like, I'm not taking my eyes off of them. That makes me
Right.
nervous too. Like, when you go to a playground, I do not like looking at my phone. You look down for 2 seconds, anything can happen. And these kids are quick. This is my first summer too, chasing around 2 kids because Liam is so mobile now. It's like, okay, do I chase after one going up a really dangerous slide, or do I chase after the other one who's heading to the parking lot? Like, how do you balance that? I'm trying to figure that out myself. So,
Well, I've been fortunate enough that my child is an extreme social butterfly. So I don't really have to worry about talking to other people because he'll like pretty much drag me there without actually dragging me.
oh,
Goes up to anybody and everybody and everyone's a friend. So it's actually been pretty nice. But I would say, I mean, this is also my first summer kind of wrangling my child, and I've had to help my friend out doing it because she's the newborn, and so I'm after 2 kids as well sometimes. And let me tell you, you got your work cut out for you.
yeah. It's a lot, but at least with a newborn, like this summer, because her baby's still so young, like that baby's still not moving. That baby can sit in a car seat. That's why I'm like refusing to transition Liam to like the toddler seat. He's still in his infant one. He's way too big for it. But when I take him in and out of the house, like I can set him down like outside the car while I grab the groceries, and then I can pick his car seat back up and take him upstairs. Or, I forgot something. Let me set him down for 1 second because he's locked in. Like he doesn't have a chance to roam around and run into the garage or, go down towards the street. Like he's locked in. But if I start doing the toddler seat, then I have to carry him down to the car, buckle him in first, come back upstairs, get all my stuff and sister. Like it just seems, I know I need to do it, but it just seems like a lot because he's not really, obviously he's 14 months and he's not capable of like understanding like, hey, wait right here, like listening and following directions yet. So, but I want to give him that freedom also to like climb up the steps. Let's go. He's also like still crawling up the steps. So it takes him 15 years just to get upstairs. And I'm like, dude, I got to pick you up. We got to go. And going down the stairs, he's got to turn his little booty around, scoot his little legs back, and then, wiggle himself down the steps backwards. And I'm like, trying to be patient, and it's just so long. Okay, so be honest, how many times a week are you cleaning the same space up? Because I know in my house, I cannot keep any rooms clean for longer than 6 hours, maybe 4 hours. I clean the kitchen. You go through a dinner or breakfast and it's all dirty again. Clean the playroom, but then you put the baby in there and then it's destroyed again. And then they're bringing toys into the living room, and it's like, you can't keep any room clean longer than a couple of hours. So with a little space, how is that for you? Like, are you constantly picking up?
I am constantly doing everything. Cedar has his own broom and he likes to drag toys. So he'll drag them in here, and we pick up toys every night because it's honestly hard to do it during the day because he's just going to bring them back out. And versus like cleaning, I have to sweep 5 times a day or more, and I mop at least 1 time a day because it can get so dirty so fast.
Oh gosh. And you have dogs too, right?
Yes, I have 2 dogs, 2 weenie dogs, and they actually are either outside or they're in their bed. They don't really like to roam. I kind of keep it that way because of the toys. I have one still kind of a puppy, and he will chew on stuff. So I kind of keep them a little bit separate. We have a baby gate we put up, and just so we don't ruin toys.
Yeah. Well, I bet that adds to like the hair and the dirt constantly everywhere.
Constant.
What's the most random place that you've had to do a diaper change on the road?
The most random place, I would have to say, like, either in his actual car seat or on the center console of my truck.
Oh my gosh. I remember one time we were at a festival and we were walking around this festival that comes to Stone Mountain over here called the Yellow Daisy Festival. This other mom commented and was like, wow, you just pioneered that, didn't you? Because I literally had Liam when he was so young. This was last year, and he was just a couple months old, and I had to change his diaper, but there was nowhere to set him down. Normally I change like in the grass or on the sidewalk or whatever, but this was like in the woods where there's mulch and like debris everywhere, and like this tiny little, dirt pathway that tons of people are walking on. So I couldn't like stop and block traffic and like change him on the semi clean nature pathway every area. So I literally had to I found a stump to sit on from a tree and had him in my lap, and like his feet were kicking me in the face, like his butt was on my stomach, and I'm just like upside down changing him because it was a poop and there was no other way. Like I couldn't do it the other way without it falling all over me. And of course I had a cute outfit on, so I'm like, oh my god, don't get this on me, like everywhere. And this woman commented, she goes, wow, you just pioneered woman that, didn't you? And I was just like, what? I was like, you got to do what you got to do, man. I mean, and luckily he was still so young, so it wasn't like a blowout or something, but there was nowhere else. And we couldn't do it in our stroller. Our stroller was packed with all the stuff we had bought. So thinking back, I should have like put a bag down maybe. I don't even know if we had a bag like from the purchases we made. Because, when you go to festivals, you just kind of like take the items. You don't bag. They don't really have bags for. Anyways, that was like the weirdest diaper change I've ever done. I was just like, oh my god. And you were with us, I think, one time, or maybe it was Bailey and Ray, our other sisters, everybody who's listening. We were on the train at the Atlanta Zoo, and it was either Lacey, maybe it was Liam, but one of them had pooped, and I had to change them. I had to change whoever it was across Bailey and Ray, I think it was the other two girls, laid her or him across their legs and had to change because we were on the train ride, and like it was so bad, and it was like starting to seep out and you couldn't leave it, and it wasn't like you had to wait. I just had my carrier and I just had to change them like on the train ride. Yeah, that was crazy, those two changes. And then let's tell everybody about Cedar. So everybody, my sister here, Lily, came to visit when Cedar and Liam, they're only 7 weeks apart, and she came to visit when Cedar was 4 months old and Liam was 2 months old, and we went to this playground down the street from my house that we had walked to, and we walked all the way there, and it was a good like 30-minute walk. I mean, we were far from the house. We just had our carriers and we're like, yeah, let's take a stroll with the babies, let's get them in the carrier. And we had Lacey in her stroller, like a tiny little umbrella stroller, and pushed her there. Our mom and other sisters were with us, and we get there, and my sister's baby Lily, who's here, her baby Cedar had a massive blowout, and I mean like all over his clothes, all over her carrier. Y'all, we did not bring a diaper bag or wipes or a diaper, no snacks, nothing. We were like, let's just go to the park for a little bit, we'll be fine. And didn't even pass our minds, didn't even phase us to like, oh, maybe we should bring a diaper bag, like in case someone has an accident. But I was like, no, we'll be there and back, no problem. And at the time, my baby was only 2 months old, so I wasn't even in the mindset of like, okay, what do we need to bring to the park? Because my toddler was already big and didn't need diapers constantly like babies. So I was not in that mindset, and we ended up asking a stranger who was at the park for a diaper, and he had like a size 4 or 5 maybe. It was a huge diaper, way too big for a newborn, and we had no wipes. The restrooms did not have any way to clean up. Like, the restrooms, they were open and they had water like for the sink, but no tissue, no paper towels. Like, we did not know what we were going to do. So what ended up happening is we got this really big diaper, wrapped it around Lily and her carrier, and just like wrapped the whole thing of poop that was spilling out in this big diaper. So thankfully it was a big diaper that we could do that, because otherwise I don't know how we would have like changed it. Like, there was no way. Like, we just had to put him in the sink and wash him, but then we had no diaper to take him back in, and it was a mess. So those 4 diaper changes have been crazy for me and you, I guess. Okay, so we went on a tangent there, but next question. Have you ever just sat in the car for a second, like, just to get a little peace, even though your house is like right there? Like, do you ever just go like sit in your truck and just need like that peaceful moment away for a second?
Yes. Like almost every single time I go somewhere and we come back, I just sit there for a second. And Cedar's normally pretty good in the car, and especially if he's asleep, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna let him sleep. And it doesn't last very long because as soon as I hit park, that boy's starting to wake up. But almost every single time do I just sit there for a second before I go in. That way I can just decompress.
Yeah. It's like they know. They know when you're turning on your street, and they're just like, time to wake up. I've only been asleep for 12 seconds. I'm ready to restart. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, you were supposed to stay asleep. Sometimes I just drive around anyways, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to leave my car sitting, running for too long. So let's just drive around for 20 minutes. Sometimes I go look at dream neighborhoods that I'm like, that's a pretty house. One day, oh, I like that house over there. But I guess you don't really have that same like luxury of driving around neighborhoods because you're in such a rural area.
I'm in a very small town. I mean, I have a couple of bigger towns near me, but not any like that I could just drive that are 10 minutes from me. And then as soon as you pull into our RV park we're at now, there's speed bumps. So as soon as you hit one of those speed bumps, he's up.
Yeah, he knows. He's like, oh, speed bumps, we're close to home. Same thing with my daughter. Whenever we live right next to this really big park and this golf course. So anytime she sees the golf course, she's like, oh, we're getting close to home. I'm like, yeah, shh, don't wake up your brother. What's one moment where you thought, what are we doing with our life right now? Like, what's going on? Why did we sign up for this? Like, do you ever feel like that? Or are you so happy that you made this decision? Like, do you miss living in a house?
So I guess every once in a while we have a thought like that, but majority of the time we absolutely love it. Like this is our home and we've made it to what we want it to be, and it's ours, and we don't have to worry about like what's going on that's we're missing or anything like that in a way. And then there's some days like my husband's name is Bert. He will come home and he's just outright exhausted. And he's what's called a straw, so he kind of runs and does everything. And he works pretty dang hard. And so when he comes home like that, it's kind of like, okay, well, you weren't as exhausted before when you worked a mediocre job. And so, in a way, we're extremely blessed to have what we have. And I honestly, you could probably not, I mean, you probably couldn't pay me to go back and live like we did before, just because we're not stressed out anymore. We're not living paycheck to paycheck. We're comfortable where we are, and we can literally do whatever we want. Now, when we miss a house every once in a while, because let me tell you, a long shower calls my name almost once a week. And we'll go and sometimes we'll get an Airbnb for the night, or we'll find a hotel somewhere. New Orleans isn't but like 4 hours from us. We've been there twice. We'll go stay there for the weekend, or we can go to Houston, but we haven't done that yet. But those are just examples. Like, we do have the option to do all these things and experience others deals when we do miss having a house.
So when you go back to the shower comment, circling back, what does that mean? Like, how long are your showers? Is it like the water keeps running and the hot water runs out, or you literally have like a set amount of water to use that you have to like, and then you're out of water? Like,
So in a normal house, you have a humongous water tank, right? Our hot water tank is maybe 10 to 20 gallons. So it's funny, we have to use our gas to turn our hot water tank on. And when you hear it start, that's when you know you can go take a shower. Because if not, you're taking maybe a lukewarm shower and then it's cold, like freezing cold. So at the start of this, we probably could take maybe not even a 10-minute shower. I mean, I couldn't even wash my hair. Okay, that was how quick our showers were. And then we had hot heater problems and had to replace a lot of parts on our hot water tank. So we were taking 2-minute showers. And now we're back to normal. I mean, I can wash my hair, but as soon as I'm done washing my hair, that water is cold.
oh man. So I know when you come to my house and you take like 30-minute showers, I'm like, oh, you need it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean that just shows you right there how fortunate you are. Like, we are not people who living in a camper get these luxury, little moments in these little showers. Like, what about your dishwasher? Like, do you even have a dishwasher?
We don't have a dishwasher. We have a sink and it collects up really fast if you don't do the dishes. I have to do the dishes at least once a day. Maybe sometimes twice if I feel like I'm wanting to do them after dinner, but sometimes we're exhausted. But no, we don't have a dishwasher. We have an oven that can fit one pan at a time, so we can't like cook multiple things at a time. We have a microwave. That's pretty much it.
Do you have a stovetop?
Yes, we have a 3-burner stovetop.
Okay. Oh man, so have you gotten creative on like your dinner plans and like your prep and like,
Yes.
I mean, you've cooked outside too. Like, what's your deal outside that you have?
So, if I cook inside, I try to do a lot of one pan meals, just because dishes can collect so fast, which has changed a lot here recently. And then outside we have a pellet grill, or we don't have a pellet grill, we have a charcoal grill, and it's actually pretty small. We're thinking about getting a bigger one, but we use it maybe once a week just because my husband gets home and I like to have dinner done as soon as he gets home. And that way we can eat, he can take a shower, he can hang out with Cedar, and then it's time for Cedar's bedtime. And so we don't really use the grill unless he's off. And then when we grill, we use the grill. Like, we smoke a bologna, we cook steaks, we cook chicken. I mean, you name it, we probably put it on there.
Okay. So how often, going back to the shower comment, I'm still intrigued. um, how how often does like your water reset? Like you said, Birch comes home and he gets to take a shower after work. Like, could you go shower a little bit after that, or do you have to wait like till the morning?
Oh boy. So if it's hair washing day, I have to be the first one in the shower because I'll use pretty much all of hot water. Or if it's bath night, Cedar gets the bath first. So sometimes my husband gets the short end of the stick. Normally they're not on the same night, so we kind of have it worked out. But whoever really takes a shower first, kind of gets to use all the water, and then you pretty much have a 5 minutes to get in there and get out for your in freezing cold water if you're second or third. So most of the time, which I don't wash my hair, but maybe 3 times a week. So we don't really have to worry about that. And then Cedar takes a bath every other night. So it kind of levels out, but in a way it refills and you kind of have to wait on it a little bit, but you still don't get that long shower as you did with the first shower.
So how long, like what's the time period of just 24 hours or like 12 hours? Like how long could the next person wait to take that shower?
If you want that whole shower, you're going to be waiting till the next day.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, luckily we're going into summertime and it's blazing hot, especially where you are. And maybe you just go stand outside in the sun until you're just pouring sweat and then you go take that cold shower.
Yeah. With outdoor shower too, it doesn't have any hot water hookups. So if I needed to, I could hose off outside.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go on, keep on moving with our questions here. RV life, but make it glamorous. Like, what's one thing that is glamorous about an RV life?
That you can take it anywhere. We could literally pack up our whole home in 2 hours and take our home anywhere we wanted to go.
So if you didn't have like the job keeping you, does the job keep you from going places? Like you said, you go to New Orleans on the weekends. Do you just take your truck and you leave the RV? Like how can you leave it secured there? Like you just lock it up like you would a house and you just leave?
Yep. So we actually ended up replacing our locks because majority of RV locks, you could buy a master key and unlock anything. So we had to replace all of our locks. And so we have it pretty secure now. So we just lock everything up, and then take the truck and go, and we'll normally stay in a hotel. So the job keeps our RV pretty confined. Like I say we can go anywhere, but in reality, it would take more to go somewhere and take our RV than it would to just go buy a hotel.
Right. So did you have any incidences with someone trying to break into your RV? Is that why you upped your security, or you found out that people could do that and get a master key, so then you were like, oh crap, let me put in my lock, like change my locks?
So the place we were at before this one was pretty sketchy. So we were right off the interstate and we lived in this old RV park right next to a gas station, and we were leaving to do I think we were leaving for our wedding, and we had to we were kind of scared, I guess. The people that actually lived at the RV park weren't as, how do you say, like trusting looking, I guess. And that's judging a book by its cover, yes, no. But kind
I
of
mean,
some
you
of their
gotta be safe, you gotta look out for your surroundings, so I get it.
And so that's when we decided to up our deal. And then we realized after we did it, like you could buy a master key to a bighorn camper and probably open that bighorn camper.
Well, okay, so that's good to know, all you RV people listeners out there. Wow. So what would you say is like the least glamorous? So we talked about the glamorous, you can pick it up and go anywhere you want, ideally. But what's the least glamorous part about living in an RV?
There's some pretty least glamorous. I guess my thing, so I'm a shopper. I love shopping. And I cannot really shop when I live in here because I don't have space to put everything. Yes, I have a storage unit, but I've had my storage unit broke into, so I don't really like putting stuff in there anymore. I guess another thing like storage, so storage would be one, and then our air conditioning. With it being so humid and so hot, like I don't know that my air conditioner has went off on this whole video. It's pretty much stayed on because it is so hot. We do have two of them, one in Cedar's room, but when he's taking a nap, we can't run that one because it gets so cold in there. That would be like my only complaint would be our air conditioning unit. I wish we had 3 air conditioning units or some space to put a bigger air conditioning unit.
Do you have like, this is probably a stupid question, but I've never even been in an RV, like staying in an RV ever. So like, do you have like your normal house outlets to like plug in a fan and plug in like all your stuff, or do you have to like plug it into certain areas? Like, where do you put your phone charger and all that?
So we do have normal plugins. There's one on my side of the bed and there's one on Birch's side of the bed. And I kind of use an adapter that has more plugins just because I have my baby monitor, we have a sound machine and a fan and my phone charger. Um, in our living room, we have like our outlet by our TV and stuff. And we have an outlet over by the kitchen area. And then our only other outlet in this whole room is actually right next to me. And so I have to run an extension cord from that outlet over to the other side. That way I can plug in my coffee pot or Birch's coffee pot and my candle warmer. And that's pretty much how we do that.
Okay. So how has this lifestyle affected your marriage? I mean, I guess you guys got married when you were on the road. So like your relationship before having a kid, like how has your relationship changed, do you think? And I have a whole nother like episode on life after kids, like marriage after kids, because I mean, your time is limited with your partner and you have to find those moments to be together. So how has y'all's relationship changed now that you've had Cedar?
I would say it got stronger. Like, we're so much happier. We're, like I said before, we're not living paycheck to paycheck. We're not constantly stressed out about where we're going to put money because we have bills to pay, or we can fully cover our bills and go do something fun if we wanted to. Or, I mean, it's just, I would say it 100% made us stronger together. And then I know, I think our only like differences would be like our families. It's extremely hard to be away from our families. That's like, especially when you grew up next to them and you kind of got used to having them like 2 hours down the road or 30 minutes down the road. We pretty much lived pretty close to his family, majority of our relationship. But that's like our only thing that puts a strain. Um, would be like going and seeing people, just because he's not able to travel very often. Like me, I can go to your house or I can go to my mom's, and that's pretty much like the only 2 places I ever go. And when he gets to come, we had to go see everybody because everybody wants to see him and they all want to get this time in with him, which is 100% understandable, but it causes so much stress and so much strain because we're running here, we're running there, we're doing all these things, and it's extremely hard to make a 2-day trip and see everyone. Some people get upset when we can't make it to them, which it causes a big issue.
Yeah. I mean, because you guys started off in Oklahoma and then you got this job and it was like 7 hours away and then it was like 9 hours and even 10 at one point, I think, from either one of y'all's families. And then now you so far and you just had this baby and then you guys like up and left after having a 2 month old. And of course, both the grandparents are like, hey, where are you taking our grandbaby? And so I can see how that would cause some issues, but luckily like you have such a great partner and support system that you guys have worked through all of that. And you know I think that's really important to have someone there that's going to back you up and not just be complaining or pulling you down or like dreading this. And like the fact that y'all are both into this, like obviously he got the job, so he was the one going, and you as a wife with a newborn, kind of part of the package, you know, had to pack up and be like, hop on board if this train's leaving. And luckily he's got you also that's so supportive and there for him and encouraging and, you know, making it work. And that's what y'all are doing. Y'all are small, tiny house living right now. So what does like a quality good time night look like for you guys? Like after Cedar goes to bed, like do you guys watch movies? Do you hang out outside and have, you know, a drink? Do you guys, you know, get some food ordered in, like a yummy dessert, and just sit there and pig out without Cedar?
So it's kind of iffy. It depends on the day and how tired he is when he gets home and how like overwhelmed I am, because having a 1-year-old in this small space and that just wants to do everything all the time can be extremely overwhelming, with especially with all the chores and stuff you have to do. Um so we actually just started the series called Landman, and I finished season 1 catching up to him, and we are now starting the show together. Some nights we go sit outside and just enjoy the evening, but we can't really sit outside very long because mosquitoes are extremely bad here. And so you can't really go outside without getting attacked. So it really just depends on the night. Most of the time we watch a movie, watch a show, and then go lay down. Or, I know this sounds silly, we play a video game together, and we'll take turns because we can't actually play together. But that's something we like to do together. That's honestly it. It's all we really have time for in the evenings.
I mean, that's a lot right there. I mean, my husband and I are lucky if we get to watch like one episode of our show without being interrupted, because both of my kids still wake up all throughout the night, and we're slowly, thankfully, getting there where my 3-year-old, for the most part, she'll sleep through the night. Every now and then she'll have episodes where she wakes up a couple nights in a row, but knock on wood, we haven't had that in a minute. And then my son, he just started like sleeping, I would say the past maybe 2 or 3 weeks, it's been like 5 and 6 hour chunks, when his whole entire life until like 13 months old has been every 2 or 3 hours. And it's because I just finished nursing him at 14 months, and it makes me sad to think that I'm like done being his comfort, but also like I'm finding new ways to be his comfort. Like he just started running up to us and giving hugs, which is just the cutest thing ever, because he was never a comfort baby. Like he doesn't like to be held. He doesn't like to face inward in the carrier. He always had to face outward. He doesn't like to cuddle, like nothing like that. So stopping nursing was really hard for me, but I think ever since I did that, it's like made him sleep longer stretches at night, because he fills up during the day with food and not just milk anymore. So, I've got a couple fire questions for you. Well, actually, I want to say last question, number 20, before I rip into my rapid fire. What's the plans for you guys? Like, what would you advise someone to do this starting out as a new mom? And do you have plans to eventually like settle down? What's your plans with school for Cedar? Like, have you thought about the future? Is that something you guys want to do? Like find roots somewhere?
So our plan is actually like, it's pretty simple. Right now we're kind of in a spot where we're comfortable, and so we don't really have to worry about like, Cedar's only 16 months old, so he won't start school for another couple years. And so we're kind of like, okay, let's put money back. We're trying to save as much as we can, where we can, and pay some stuff off. And then our plan is we're actually looking in Texas to settle down and buy a house, and hopefully he'll go to school there. I look all the time at houses, not saying I'm just gonna go and buy one, but it doesn't hurt to look, is what I always say. Um, just to kind of get my, like, what I want in mind, I guess. Because we might want to build, we might find land somewhere, we might buy an old home, we might buy a I mean, we just don't know kind of what the plan is. But yes, eventually, when in a couple years down the road, we'll buy a house, we'll settle down, we'll have our own area that's not a camper. Birch will probably stay on the road while Cedar goes to school. I'll probably go back to work.
So the plan is to eventually settle down and start school for Cedar, and then maybe you may or may not go back to work. Well, whenever you do go into the house hunting, I feel like being a homeowner now, there's so many things, and you living in an RV, like there's so many things that you know to look for in your next house, like is the backyard fenced in? Like, can my dogs get out? Or, is the kitchen tiles lifting? Like all these different things, like are the ceilings, cracking, or are there like, a bunch of holes in the wall that we're going to have to fix up? Or ours was big. My big issue is like walking ability, like neighborhood friendly walking friendly neighborhood. We don't really have that here. I'm in a cul-de-sac off a busy road. So like these things you don't think about, or like community. I wanted to be really close to an elementary school that my daughter could go to that was a good school. I didn't really think about all that whenever we bought our house in 2020. And now I'm like, okay, I wish we had this stuff. Luckily, I do live in a city where there's lots of options. We're in the same boat. We're trying to figure it out, and I really don't want to do homeschool, but I thought maybe you would have said maybe Cedar would be doing homeschool if y'all stayed on the road, but who knows? If I start homeschooling, then maybe I'll teach you something about homeschooling, and then you might change your mind. I don't know. It seems so overwhelming to think about homeschooling. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I haven't actually put a second thought to it just because it's so overwhelming. I love, love, love my child. I feel like with him going to school, he would get that social interactive that he needs.
Yeah.
Not that I'm making him like compacted now, but he is such a social butterfly. I feel like that would, I mean, just I guess depending on how he is down the road, of course, but I feel like that would also factor in like, oh, okay, I think he needs that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate here where we get out all the time, so not putting
Yeah.
my daughter in preschool until almost 3.5. She just started at 3.5, and she talks to everybody. She tells strangers where we live, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't need to be saying our street name now. I'm proud you know that, but stop talking to strangers. So it's a big, hard topic in our house too, like moving or schools or all of that. Okay, so rapid fire to end this session. Thank you so much for being here. So RV park best find. Were you looking for a playground or laundry room?
Laundry.
Okay. Coffee first or survive toddler first?
Survive toddler first.
Okay. 5-minute cleanup or pretend it's fine?
5-minute cleanup.
I always just kind of, if I go in another room, I don't think about it, like, oh, it doesn't exist. I can't right now with that. All right, one word to describe the season of life that you're living.
Blessed.
Good answer. Okay, I feel like we could talk about this forever and ever because there's just so much to unpack. So we're definitely going to have Lili back on, both like talking about her pregnancy journey and how she found out she was pregnant at 6 months. Did not know until then. So we're going to get that story soon for you guys. And then I want to dive more into like her RV life and everyday schedule, like with Cedar, and how that looks in her RV camp, because I feel like it's a really interesting topic. But I hope today's episode gave you guys a real look into what motherhood could be like out of sight of your like typical picture of motherhood. And maybe it even reminds you that there's no right way to do motherhood, because there's really not. And everybody's motherhood looks different. So whether you're in this season right now of constant change, you're feeling unsettled, or you're just trying to figure out things day by day, you're not alone in that. Here's our point right here. This is real motherhood conversations. And to my sister, Lili, thank you so much for sharing your story and being so honest with us. RV life with a toddler is clearly no joke. And it's glamorous in some ways, but there's also so many things that are not glamorous. So you're doing an amazing job. And even on those chaotic days, I'm just still looking at you in awe. And to be such a young mom, like, you're just rocking it. So if you love this episode, don't forget to share with another mama who needs to hear this today. And make sure you're following along on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. I've been doing weekly giveaways. I've got all of our local fun places to go and like family friendly events that are happening in our area over here in Tucker, Georgia. So if you don't want to miss out on an episode, please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe so you get that notification. And we'll talk to you guys on the next one. So from two Tuckered Mamas, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.